Welcome back to the deep dive. So if you've been paying any attention to, well, anything in tech over
Yeah.
the last couple of years, you've probably used an AI tool
Oh, for sure.
to draft an email, summarize a long meeting, maybe even debug a tricky piece of code. And that initial rush, that fascination, it was so focused on the individual.
Right.
How much time can I save? How much better is my output? But the sources we've pulled together today, and we're mostly looking at synthesized findings from the Microsoft 2025 New Future of Work report, they suggest that honeymoon phase is kind of
It
over.
really is.
We're moving past the easy individual gains, and we're hitting this massive wall when it comes to organizational scaling. So our mission today is to figure out that paradox. Why are these huge individual productivity boosts not translating into collective organizational intelligence? And, what are the keys to success for 2025 and beyond?
That is the essential question right now. I mean, 2024 is basically the proof point. It showed us, yes, AI delivers substantial, measurable individual gains.
We saw the numbers.
Exactly. Verifiable time savings, quality improvements, all of it. But 2025 is the critical shift because the frontier now is collective productivity.
So teams, organizations,
whole business ecosystems using this stuff together. And this transition, it forces us to confront these really fundamental questions about the social, the collaborative dimensions of work that, frankly, we could ignore when it was just one person and a chatbot.
Okay, let's unpack that individual scorecard first, because the data is genuinely stunning. It really lays the groundwork for this whole discussion.
It's pretty wild.
The research is just so clear. We're talking about surveyed enterprise users saving somewhere between, 40 and 60 minutes a day?
40 to 60 minutes daily. That's significant. That's basically giving every employee an extra hour of focused work or even just recovery time every single day.
And it's not just for, say, coders.
Not at all. And that's what's so notable. The sources show these gains are consistent across the board, whether you're in marketing, legal, software, customer service. It's a tool that just works across the knowledge economy.
And the scale of adoption, it's just unprecedented. It's one thing for a tool to catch on, but the speed here is historic.
Absolutely. Look at the enterprise level. We saw enterprise ChatGPT messages go up by a factor of 8 year over year.
8 times. Wow.
And on the consumer side, the platform hit over 700 million weekly active users globally by mid-2025. Think about that. Very few technologies in history have hit that kind of saturation that fast.
What I also found fascinating was the demographic shift that happened inside that growth. We all remember early 2023, AI users were, heavily skewed, over 80% males.
Typical early adopter curve.
Exactly. But the source material shows that gender gap has, for all intents and purposes, closed. Men and women are now using consumer AI tools at nearly equal rates. It's crossed that chasm from a niche enthusiast thing to just a utility.
And if you look at how they're using it, it's really practical. 80% of ChatGPT usage falls into just 3 main categories. Practical guidance, seeking information, and writing. It confirms this isn't a toy anymore. It's a routine tool for solving real work problems.
I want to zoom out for a second because you mentioned cultural differences earlier, and the geographic attitudes toward AI were so revealing to me. It's not just about using it, it's about accepting it. People in Asia and Latin America are way more likely to agree that AI products have more benefits than drawbacks. We're talking huge majorities. 83% in China, 70% in Mexico.
Right.
Now, you compare that to Western Europe and North America, and the figures just plummet. The U.S. is at 39% agreement. The Netherlands is only at 36%. That's a massive gulf.
It is a massive gulf, and it's a profound cultural difference. It's probably rooted in prior levels of digital transformation, maybe institutional trust or a lack of it.
And that skepticism,
Yep.
that must feed directly into the collective challenge we're talking about.
It has to. Societies that are more skeptical, they often have deeper concerns about job security, data privacy, accountability, which are the exact issues that blow up when you try to scale AI from one person to a whole team.
So that brings us back to the core paradox.
Right. If every individual is saving 40 to 60 minutes a day, why isn't the whole company seeing a 10 or 15% jump in efficiency?
Yeah, where does it go?
Because team assistance is just fundamentally harder than individual assistance. You introduce AI into a team, and suddenly you have to navigate multiple perspectives, manage turn-taking, build a shared goal.
All the human stuff.
All the messy human stuff, trust building, conflict resolution. Current AI systems just were not built to solve any of that.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting because the sources highlight a key risk that might be actively undermining efficiency. It could be eating up those 60 minutes we just saved.
Yes.
Let's talk about AI workslop.
Workslop. It's such a brilliant descriptive term for a terrible reality.
So define it for us.
It's AI-generated content that looks useful on the surface. It's formatted nicely, it seems complete, but it lacks substance, it's inaccurate, or it has these critical errors.
So it's not obviously garbage. It's something that you then have to check, correct, or maybe just redo entirely. That sounds like a massive efficiency killer.
It is. It creates this huge cognitive burden. And the sources show it's already widespread. 40% of U.S. employees said they received workslop in the last month.
40%.
And the overall estimate is sobering. They think workslop is about 15% of all content being created in knowledge work right now.
Wow. So 1 in every 7 reports or slide decks you get might be junk that you have to fix?
Pretty much. And so those 40 to 60 minutes you saved in the morning, you're potentially spending them on quality control in the afternoon.
Yeah.
The whole organizational gain just gets canceled out.
It's a systemic problem, too, not just an individual one.
Exactly. It clogs up the works. The report tracked how this bad content moves. Most of it, about 40%, flows between peers. But it also goes up to management and down to subordinates. It disrupts decision-making everywhere.
And there's a deeper, more long-term risk here, right? Something about skills.
Yes, and this is critical. We have to talk about cognitive deskilling. There's experimental evidence showing that non-technical workers get really good at technical tasks when they use an AI assistant.
Okay, that sounds like a good thing.
It does. But the danger is that this benefit might be temporary.
Temporary how? Are they learning the tool but not the actual skill?
That is the crux of it. Researchers found that once you take away the AI tool, the workers lose the ability to do those tasks. It shows they're not building real, lasting skills. They're just leaning on the tool like a crutch.
So a junior employee might rely on AI for everything, but if that tool changes or they move to a new company...
They're left with no fundamental skills, and the company becomes critically dependent on that one specific tool. It's a huge vulnerability.
Okay, that is a huge implication for career growth. You're basically trading short-term efficiency for long-term fragility. So let's pivot now to the broader labor market. The aggregate data, the big picture, suggests that the macro effects are small.
Go for a yes.
The report didn't find a big generalized impact on overall unemployment, working hours, or job openings. But like always, that big picture hides some really intense pressure points when you zoom in.
Absolutely. The story changes dramatically when we look at the entry-level workforce. The evidence of pressure on that next generation, the workers just starting out, is becoming starkly clear.
What kind of pressure are we talking about?
Payroll data suggests that younger workers, so age 22 to 25, in jobs that are highly exposed to AI, they saw their employment fall by about 13% compared to similar roles with less AI exposure.
13%. That is a massive drop, concentrated right at the start of the career ladder. Why are junior roles getting hit first?
Well, the main hypothesis is task substitution. Think about traditional entry-level jobs. They're often about doing easily systematized high-volume tasks.
Right. Data entry, basic coding, summarizing notes.
Precisely the tasks that current AI models are brilliant at automating. So organizations are realizing they can just leapfrog those basic tasks.
And hire someone more mid-career instead.
Exactly. Hire someone who can manage the AI outputs, synthesize complex results, and apply that high-level human judgment over the AI-generated slop. So this suggests a strong redistribution, not just net job loss. It's favoring older, more experienced workers.
So AI isn't eliminating jobs en masse, but it is kicking away the bottom rung of the ladder that people use to climb into a career.
That's a great way to put it. It raises the floor of required competence. And that brings us to the rise of complementary skills.
The human skills.
The human skills. AI exposure is dramatically changing the skills you need. Job postings that ask for AI proficiency are nearly twice as likely to also ask for things like analytical thinking, resilience, ethics, digital literacy.
So the AI handles the routine, but that just makes the demand for human judgment and analysis go way up.
Skyrockets.
Right.
And you see this playing out so clearly in the online freelance market. It's like an early warning system for these trends.
Right, so what happened there?
We saw these undeniable declines in the automation-prone clusters. Writing and content creation jobs dropped about 30%. Basic software dev tasks down about 21%.
And the work that's left?
More complex, more project-based, and it often pays more. But the competition for those remaining complex roles has just intensified like crazy. The market is consolidating around advanced skills.
Which leads us directly to the organizational imperative. Since we know the tech alone can cause all these problems, workslop, Deskilling, the ultimate value of AI, depends entirely on intentional choices.
That's the key. It's a sociotechnical transformation. The organizations that just mandate AI from the top down, everyone use this tool starting Monday, they are struggling.
Badly.
So what works?
The evidence all points to worker voice and participatory design.
And that's not a new idea, is it? It sounds familiar.
Not at all. It has deep roots. I mean, principles of sociotechnical systems going back to the 1930s showed that tech success depends on how people adapt to it. The people doing the actual work, they're the experts. You have to involve them as co-designers, let them shape the tools. Okay, so the report gives some really tangible examples of this. Let's start with trust and psychological safety. How do companies actually do that?
One great method is establishing learning zones, or AI sandboxes.
Okay.
These are basically dedicated projects where experimenting with AI has zero performance consequences. You can't get penalized for generating slop in the sandbox. It's a failure-tolerant environment built to learning.
That sounds smart.
The most powerful example in the source material was a big financial services company. They made a 3-year pledge.
Yeah.
No job loss due to AI efficiency.
Wow, that's a big commitment.
It was transformative. It just removed that inherent fear of automation. And it enabled these honest conversations between employees and management about what AI could really do, and more importantly, where human judgment was non-negotiable. That trust let them learn and integrate AI responsibly and fast.
Of course. If your job isn't on the line, you're much more likely to say, hey, this thing is making a mistake, which is invaluable data.
Invaluable. And another huge factor is flexible tools. Rigid, one-size-fits-all tools just get rejected, especially by experienced pros who know their job better than any algorithm.
So you need to give people options.
You do.
Yeah.
The report highlighted a software company's coding assistant. Instead of forcing full automation, it offered adjustable autonomy levels. A developer could pick suggestion mode, collaborative mode, or autonomous mode.
So they could tailor it to the task.
Or their own comfort level. And it led to way higher adoption and better quality because the developers felt respected. Their agency was intact.
And finally, transparent communication from leadership.
This is vital. Leaders set the tone. The most successful organizations were the ones where leaders shared their own AI experiments, including their mistakes.
Like what?
Like a senior leader sharing how they got hallucinated citations when they were drafting a presentation. That kind of vulnerability, it normalizes learning in public. It builds the safety for everyone else to experiment without fear of looking incompetent.
It all seems to connect back to culture.
It does. Ultimately, the sources make it clear that achieving what they call responsible AI organizational maturity, or RAI-OMM, requires holistic change. It needs coordination across governance, workforce development, and all these cultural elements. You can't just do it in one area. It's a complete overhaul.
So what does this all mean for you, for the listener?
I think the key takeaway from our deep dive today is that this great transition to collective intelligence, it requires organizations to fundamentally shift their focus. It's less about the technical tool. We know the tools work for individuals.
Right.
And it's far more about the sociotechnical transformation.
Right.
About changing the culture and the processes to minimize that slop and maximize trust.
And looking ahead, I mean, there's a real risk here of eroding motivation if we're not careful. When AI just removes the parts of work that gave people autonomy or recognition or just connection, the meaning of the work itself can really diminish.
That's a powerful thought.
So thoughtful integration has to preserve or maybe even enhance those human dimensions. It can't just be about pure short-sighted automation. So that leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to chew on. If human contributions are increasingly going to center on judgment, creativity, and relationship building, the skills that AI can't really substitute, what steps should organizations be taking right now to measure, to recognize, and to financially reward those uniquely human capabilities? That is the big challenge for tomorrow.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.